Today is World Health Day. And the theme for the World Health Day set by the World Health Organization, the WHO, is depression. Let's talk. And this is a very significant thing. I'm also able to see through all my travels, many people that I encounter, definitely there is this concern regarding depression, or we can say a down in the spirit, So there, again through observation, I've seen that there are different forms of depression. One can be a plain physical depression, where you feel down, just down physically. That might be just short lasting, because let's say you have had the wrong combination of foods that has depressed your physical energies. If you just jump up, get into some physical activity, out into the sun, that might clear off at least partially this kind of a depression. Again, what I'm saying is not as per medical sciences, but simple observation, commonsensical observation. There is another kind of depression, which is like emotional down. Emotionally, you feel down, depressed. That might be because you have suffered a short-term setback. You wanted something, that did not happen. That might be the cause. Or you feel emotionally not so all right. There again, there especially, having good friends who lighten up your mood, having someone to talk to becomes very, very critical. You talk with them and you'll see, you feel free, at least in the temporary time period. Left alone, you might start feeling very tough. So this type of emotional down, that's where talking, keeping your communication channels open with your friends, with your parents, family, anybody, or even a book that inspires you becomes very critical. You'll feel, okay, you start seeing things in a new light, and that gives you a fresh perspective. That becomes very critical. And thirdly, there is this, you can say, mental depression, or it happens with most of us that we start building up plans. This, that, this. And before long, you would see that there are thousands of plans in your head, and suddenly you feel depressed. It's like you shut yourselves in a room for a day and you just think, plan. And at the end of the day, you might actually find yourself a little depressed. This sort of a depression is to do with over-planning and the lack of actionating. And you will see there will never be a time where you can actionate on all your plans. And that's it. You will forever, your ambitions backfire. Because you are ambitious, but that ambition itself is the cause of anxiety. Because your ambition is to do with here and not here. No? If you actionate on it, then you will see you will be satisfied, fulfilled. But if it's like over-planning, then that itself might lead you to depression, because you will always be at a point where most of your desires are unfulfilled. Most of your ambitions are unfulfilled. And hence, you might not want to look at the positive side of what all has been fulfilled, but more like the negative side where, oh, I have so many things, oh, this does not work, that does not work, this to do, that to do, oh, what do I do? And there, you'll need to actionate. You'll need to pull back, periodically pull back. Those desires, those ambitions. What if you don't reach them? It's okay. The attitude of it's okay and still at the same time being responsible, doing well, both balanced out is a good approach. As Swami Chinmayananda beautifully expresses, the equation for happiness is number of desires fulfilled divided by the total number of desires. So that becomes very critical to understand. And hence, as a corollary, the total number of desires as it goes down, in fact, if it touches zero, it's like infinite happiness. That's how he puts it. And that's beautiful. There's a case in point that needs to be pondered. So being ambitious is not a problem, but one thing at a time. What's the big deal? And as your capacity builds up, you can multi-process. And that is fine. Then you will expand. As your capacity expands and your ambitions match that, then you will have a happy condition, happy going. So these three are one kind. These are definitely not, one should not have it, but still they are there. The fourth kind is what is called spiritual depression. In that what happens is, one has tried and tested out everything or nothing. But whatever one touches, one feels like, oh, it's painful. It's painful. Everything seems painful. That is called a spiritual depression. And that is a great thing to have. In case you have reached that, not psychological depression, not physical depression, but the spiritual depression, where everything you touch seems painful. Oh, you shrink back. And you don't know why. That's it. You just need to hold on to that. Because that will lead you to the ultimate. So there, once the subjective reality pains you, everything, no matter the biggest thing is offered to you, still the objective reality pains. And you don't want it. You just shrink from that. That is a blessed state. You should have it. That is very good to hold on to. You should not occupy yourselves or distract yourselves. That you should hold on to. Even if you don't hold on to, if you have Tivra Vairagya, it will hold on to you. That is a blessed condition. Then, step by step, you are led to your ultimate. Life is beautiful.